नमः। ॐ श्री मात्रे 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 नमः।
वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ गङ्गणपतये नमः। ॐ गङ्गणपतये नमः। ॐ गङ्गणपतये नमः। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु स्मृतिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु स्मृतिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु स्मृतिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। Namaste and welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam or KYG. Thank you as always for taking time and joining this satsang. So together we explore higher dimensions of consciousness. In today's class, I would like to review a little bit of what we did in the last class for two reasons. One is, surprisingly, I got a lot of good feedback and questions about So what exactly and how exactly can we do the sashtanga namaskar and so on? And so I have made a short video which I'd like to present in the satsang, just to how do we experience the seventh avarna? That's what we were talking last time. The idea of the seventh avarna being a state of complete surrender. Then that inner sanctuary, the door opens, and then and only then we would even get an idea of the eighth and the ninth hour. When we go past this, it is going to be theory for me. I haven't yet crossed this threshold in my own experience. So the eighth and the ninth avarna will be purely based on what I can imagine. But there are very humbling, very powerful, very, very wonderful revelations and lessons at this point. And personally, my heart is filled with gratitude, and I can stay in this beautiful place on the door of the inner sanctum sanctorum, the entrance, for many lifetimes, just knowing that behind this door lies the infinite experience. That is the power of this sashtanga. That is the power of the seventh avarna. When all of these energies combine together and form these eight beautiful energies that fill and transform our body, and we offer that completely. And when the body lies supine on the floor, the mind is down as well. And when the body and mind is like that, then the spirit is released from all the shackles of the body. Because as long as the body is standing upright, the spirit is confined. The spirit sleeps. The body is awake. But when the body and mind are very closely, in fact, they're as good as one. That is the whole teaching of yoga, is it's not different. And so when the body is surrendered, the mind too is surrendered, then the spirit opens. Then the doors open. I think that is the purpose of our lives. How do we learn this idea of surrender? One of the greatest myths of surrender is somehow we are sacrificing some of our own willpower and intelligence depending on something, and it's all based on blind belief. It's completely opposite that. Surrender is not escapism. Surrender is not an action that comes out of weakness. Now, when we are in trouble and when you say, I don't know what to do, I'm surrendering, that is like how that kind of act can be considered weakness, because you're shirking away from your duty, which is what Arjuna thought he was surrendering. But till the point he had not surrendered, and that's why Krishna didn't speak to him. Till the point he said, I don't know anymore what is good, what is bad. I am surrendering my entire concept of all of this to you. You guide me. You tell me what to do and I will do. When that kind of unconditionality came into his heart, then Krishna started preaching what we know today as the Bhagavad Gita. So it is that kind of surrender we are talking, and not the one which comes when things are too difficult, when we are unable to decide, when we are unable to take a decision, or when we are unable to do something, or we're too weak, we say, oh, we are going to surrender, hoping some God from somewhere will somehow come and fix our problem. Because at the end of it, we have an expectation of what kind of solution is going to be presented to us. But in that ultimate surrender we are talking of, what we are learning in the seventh avarna, is the outcome is not defined by us, is not even in our vision, not visualized by us, because we don't even know what the outcome is. So how can we even visualize the outcome? What we are focused is on the excellence of our offering. How can I make my offering excellent? And the rest, I don't know. That is the secret of the law of karma as taught in the Gita. Focus on your action. Focus on the effort. Make your effort excellent. Make your effort an act of worship in whatever field it could be. When that becomes an act of worship, when that act becomes an offering, that offering is I give up my ownership for this act. I leave it to you. Out of joy, I surrender. And that's it. And we surrender. And we merge. The river merges into the ocean at this point. And then the oceans take over. When the Shaktis manifest themselves in the body, the Shaktis begin to play the role. You and I won't exist. We would be in that joy of merging into these and allowing the divine energies to take over and run our lives. And if the divine architect has architected, orchestrated, and continues to orchestrate such a beautiful, wonderful universe, wouldn't that divine know how to run your life and my life? So it is fear. It is that ugly head that keeps coming up, like the head of Ravana kept coming up. Every time Rama cut off one head, one more head came up. It just seemed to be endless. He didn't know how to get rid of Ravana's head. Because an ego is not going to die so easily. The sense of I and mine is not an easy thing to give up. It takes lifetimes. What after, people ask? There is no after once you give up the I. There is no after that. What? Because the I is not there to experience the result of surrender. If you are expecting what happens when you surrender, then that is not surrender. Not the surrender that we are talking of for self-realization. Sunder will not know what happens beyond this door. The 8th and the 9th Avarna will be revealed to Shakti herself and to Shiva. That is the game of life. That is why in chanting of the Rudram, one of the most powerful Vedic mantras, who chants the Rudram? Rudra himself chants the Rudram. That is why before chanting Rudram, you purify the entire body. It's similar to the sashtanga in the 7th Avarna. You visualize, you invoke rather than just visualization, you're invoking all the divine Shaktis in every part of your body, right from your feet till the forehead. The Nyasa it is called. Lagu Nyasa. There's a simple Nyasa and there's a Maha Nyasa. So when you do that, all the divine energies are invoked, the body transforms, becomes Rudra. And Rudra is the one who is worshipping Rudra. Then Sunder is gone. So if I ask what is the benefit I'm going to get out of Rudram chanting, the whole purpose is defeated. I don't exist when the Rudram is being chanted. Because I have become Rudra. And Rudra is only one who can worship him. Because only the one who can understand Rudra is Rudra himself. When people ask me, oh, so you everybody says Sai Baba is an avatar, Sai Baba is God, what do you think? I said, I don't know. Why? The only one who can claim he is divine, he is God, is Sai Baba. Because only he knows himself. Who am I to say he is God or he is not God? Who am I to call Jesus the Son of Man or Son of God? Only Jesus can say, I and my Father are one. We can only listen and probably gasp at the enormity of that experience. If we are quick to jump to conclusions and say so-and-so is God, so-and-so is an avatar, then we are just, unless it's been our experience. Only Rudra can worship Rudra. Only Sai can say he is Sai. Only Devi can enter the innermost sanctum sanctorum. Because at that point, there is no room for Sunder or Sashi or anybody. There is no room for us. You and I don't exist. No Shumba and Nishumba, nobody. No I, no mine, no Ravana. And therefore, when Rama kept cutting Ravana's head, another head kept popping up. He didn't know what to do. He was desperate. And then his guru, Agastya, comes and tells him, do Aditya Hridayam. He initiates him into the worship of the sun. What sun is that? That is the higher self. He says, awaken the higher self. Invoke the highest energy. Then the ego will not raise its head. Then your Sita will present herself to you. This is a very symbolic part of the story of Rama. Because he's separated from his Shakti. Just like when Shiva is separated from Parvati, the universe stops. In other words, there is no Shakti to empower the I. There is no consciousness to empower the I. So the I doesn't even know it exists. So without Sita, Rama won't even exist. Sita is the Shakti who reminds Rama who he is. So we got it in the form of a story. But then what is the symbolism of the story? They get separated. And who's standing in the middle? Ravana with the 10 heads. And as long as Rama is cutting off the head, another one keeps popping up. And thus, he cannot get to Sita. Aditya Hridayam. Aditya Hridayam. In your heart. In your heart. In many, many verses of Adi Shankara as well, in the Vedic texts, they talk about the cave of the heart, where the self shines. Pratas Smarami. There's a beautiful poem and a beautiful meditative verse. Early morning. Hridi samspuradatma tattvam. In the center of my heart, in the cave of my heart, I meditate upon the self. It shines brilliantly. So, Aditya Hridayam, open your heart and recognize the higher self, Agastya teaches him. And then he understands that. So it is, in the story, he says they worship the sun. And he draws energy from the sun. Which means draw energies from the very source of this planet. Here the sun becomes symbol of the highest consciousness. That is how we need to approach Devi Khadgamala. That is how we need to approach spirituality. What am I going to get at the end? Nothing. Because I don't exist. Guess what the ego will say? And perhaps it is saying already in the corner of your mind, oh, then what is the use of all this? I will just keep drifting and watching my TV and there's no fun in this. And that's how another head of Ravana pops up, prevents you from meeting your own inner self. We have convinced ourselves, because of the multi-headed Sunder, so many heads, comes up and says, what is the point then? There's no point. If you're not going to exist, what is the point? It is foolishness. It's ridiculous and this and that. Somehow this ego wants to survive and fight the Atma Rama, the self, the Christ within. So we are at that stage in the Seventh Avarna. Seventh Avarna is the Sahasrara, 7th Chakra. After that, there is no coming back. Once that door opens, there is no Sunder. The river merges into the ocean. So where is the river now? It doesn't exist. It exists as the ocean. Only the ocean exists. So there's no river to come back and say, hey, this was the experience I had in the Sahasrara. This was what I experienced. No. Once the river becomes the ocean, it is the ocean. You ask the river, what is the experience? The river will say, I was always the ocean. I'm playing the game of going up, coming down as raindrops and playing the game of as if I am a river coming back. But I've always been the ocean. Always been the ocean. I am the ocean. I was the ocean. There is no river at that point. Such is the beauty of spiritual enlightenment. The joy of empowerment, the highest form of empowerment. So let me share this video with you all. Please take time to watch. It is again, as a student of yoga, as a practitioner of yoga, I offer my perspectives. None of these are written on rock. It is as they are revealed to me, as I've understood it, as I've practiced it. I'm sharing as a brother, as a friend, as a fellow pilgrim. And it is only with that intention, so that it can open your mind, open your heart, and maybe you'll get more insights into this deeper understanding. So let us watch that video.
Namaste. Welcome to KYG. This is a demonstration of what we have all understood as the Sashtanga Namaskara. Sashtanga Namaskara is about 8 angas, 8 parts, 8 limbs of one's body that is completely surrendered to the Lord, to the Guru, to the Ishta Devata. In this case, we have Devonka Dev Mahadev, the supreme reality in the form of Shiva, a symbol of that formless entity in front of us. And we learn how the ancients taught us with a very, very, very powerful body language, the idea of complete surrender. This, as I understand it, is the secret that is revealed in the Seventh Avarna of the Devi Khadgamala, where the 8 angas are related to the 8 Shaktis that begin to manifest, purify, empower this body so we can enter the 8th and the 9th Avarnas or the gates. So let us begin that demo. I'm going to start with standing up to show you why do we at all need to lie down fully? Can I not just do this and offer mentally, offer everything that I have? An earnest prayer of complete surrender, is it not expressed through this? As a practicing yoga student, I have always come to understand the importance and the power of body language. So here is Sunder standing. Mighty Sunder, established himself as Sunder, intelligent or otherwise, whatever it is. I have defined myself as Sunder and I stand up here. And then I stand in front of Mahadev. Even if he's 6 foot tall or he's 3 foot tall, it doesn't matter here. But right now we could just get a small statue here. So irrespective of this size, watch what happens to the body as I stand here and I bow my head. It does seem nice and we take it it's a very convenient way of doing this. But this is not a complete sashtanga. It doesn't have even 1/10 of the power that comes with a full sashtanga pranam or namaskar. Why? Look at Sundar's body language. Almost 90% of Sundar is standing upright, full of pride and ego. So Sundar is existing. A small portion above the neck and a little bit of palms together join and bend down. So only the head is coming down, just for that moment. This is the body language. It does mark humility. It does show respect. Nevertheless, it is not what will help us go into the innermost shrine of the deity, because this does not indicate complete self-surrender that we need for self-realization, for the higher self to come. This way, the higher self cannot come because 90% of Sundar is still standing proudly on the ground like the mighty oak. Compare this to a sashtanga pranam, which is completely like this. Now watch my body language here. It is completely lying down on the floor. So there, the bhava or the attitude or the feeling of surrender doesn't have to be invoked. It is not artificial. It's not a matter of belief, but it is a complete experience. Almost instantly, one will say, I offer everything that I have. That is the power of Sashtanga Pranam. So, from here, we invoke the Shaktis, the 8 Shaktis. They present themselves to us, and we invoke them, and they perform this wonderful, guide us to performing the wonderful idea of Sashtanga Namaskara. So let's start with that. The first thing, the first Shakti that we learned in the Devi Khadgamala class 50 is Vashinyai in the 7th Avarna, right? As you enter the innermost, the last 3 Avarnas, Vashinyai is control, Vashikarana, as I said. Control comes in the knees. That's why pride goes down. You say, he was brought to his knees because he was a proud man. Or when you are nervous, you say, my knees are shaking. Knees signify control. Even if my legs below my knees are amputated, I can still walk if I have knees in place. So knees are an important element of control. It signifies willpower. I'm standing on my knees, right? We tell the young children, you have to stand on your knees, believe in yourself, and so on. So knees signify willpower. The first thing I do, in order for this divine Vashinyai to manifest, the divine willpower to manifest, not my willpower, but it is called the divine Sankalpa. The word Sankalpa is translated as willpower generally. But the beauty of Sankalpa is you're co-creating with the divine. So now you're joining hands with the divine. You're allowing the divine to work through you. So invoking divine willpower, first you offer the knees. The knees go down. The knees touch the ground. The first thing you do is offer the knees. When your knees touch the ground, Vashinyai, she manifests herself in this spot very beautifully. So the willpower is now, first thing I lay down my will, allowing her to take charge, allowing her will, the Shakti's will, to take me towards my Shiva. Then comes Kameshwari. Kameshwari is my feet, desires. My feet are constantly walking towards chasing desires. Now I am offering that my only desire is Shiva and nothing else. And therefore, my feet come up. It's not going to chase worldly desires. So it's not in touch with the ground chasing worldly desires. It turns upwards. It's not going anywhere else. So Kameshwari manifests herself here and helps me to direct my energies towards Shiva. Kameshwari is about desire. Kameshwari about manifestation. The highest power begins to manifest. So you have Vashinyai, Kameshwari. Then you have to go down further. So what happens? Now joyously, with great pleasure and joy, Modinyai comes. Hands, Modinyai. We talked about how hands clap when they are happy. We wave when we are happy. Hands immediately signify happiness. And therefore we take with happiness, great happiness, I put my hands on the floor. Initially, surrender my hands to the ground. So even that goes down. So once this goes down, instantly the joy, the supreme bliss begins to fill my heart. Because I have given up my control, willpower. I've given up all desires. Now my feet is turned upwards, not down like this. It's turned upwards. And then I place my palms on the ground. So now I am opening my mind to the abundance of the Shiva consciousness. And then what do? And then I place my chest. Vimalayai. So Modinyai, this is intoxicated now. See, let's go back to that previous one if you can. Now Modinyai is that intoxication has already come because I'm going down. Right? The joy is filling me up as I go down. You need that kind of joy to completely surrender yourself. Otherwise, the ego is going to prevent you from doing this. It's going to say, are you crazy? What are you lying down fully in front of a statue? Don't do that. But you have to be kind of crazy. So Modinyai, she intoxicates you. So she comes. And then Vimala comes. Vimalaya is chest. Chest again, chest is full of pride. Chest is conditioned mindset. Chest is, I know this, we fill our heart with emotions and feelings, all directed towards very ephemeral, temporary things. Not right or wrong, it's just how we do it. But now we're taking all that learning, all that feelings and emotions and beliefs and all of that, we're going to surrender it. And thus the heart becomes pure, Vimala, and she manifests herself. So we become unconditional. Unconditional here. Our feelings and emotions, no judgments, no good, no bad, nothing. Whatever you say is right for me. I'm not going to question anything. So empty your cup, as it's said in the Zen philosophy. It's the same thing. You empty your heart of all your belief systems. Open your heart. Unconditional. That is purity. So once Modinya comes, then you take your chest to the ground. You place your chest on the ground, completely surrendered. And then what do you do? And then you take the forehead and place it down. Once the forehead touches the ground, Aruna, the rising sun. Forehead is about destiny. You take your destiny and offer it. You say, take my destiny. I'm not in charge of myself anymore. I take what is written on my forehead and I'm offering it at your feet. So your forehead has to touch the ground. And it presses. If there is a feet of the Guru, like I always remember when I do this, hundreds of times we had a chance to press our forehead against the feet of our beloved Sadgurus. So press the forehead. And when that happens, the sun begins to rise. The destiny is now in his hands. So when the divine takes over the destiny, the sun is rising in your life, no matter what. That is a surrender. There's no expectations there. He says, you do it. Whatever you do, I'm accepting. The destiny is in your hands. So saying that, we offer our forehead. At this point, our hands can even come here and holding to the feet. If there is the feet in front of you, you can hold on to the feet of the idol, the statue, the Guru. Forehead. Then you close your eyes, because until now you needed the eyes open. Now you're internalizing the experience. Once you internalize anything, victory is certain. That is the power of going within. So you internalize this experience, you close your eyes. Jainye. She manifests in your eyes and takes you into the path of victory. The path to God is the path of victory. There is nothing else. All other victories are just imagination. This is the real path. So you completely surrender. Close your eyes. And that the higher self comes and lays the foundation of self-confidence. Jaini. And then you kiss the ground. Or kiss the feet. Where the holy force is manifested in front of you. You kiss the holy ground. When you kiss the holy ground, the mouth that is used for eating and speaking, all of that is offered. And Sarva Aishwarya, the Lordship is presented. She takes over. Sarvaishwarya. Forehead on the ground, eyes closed. You kiss the holy ground. And then finally offer your mind once again completely. And this offering of the mind is everything. Kaulinya. So look at from Shiva's point of view. If you looking from top, you see this is how he's looking at us. He's saying, oh, he's come. And then his hand blesses. And then Kaulinya presents. So Kaulinya is the lineage, the highest lineage. We identify ourselves with the Shiva energy. Self-realization. This is sashtanga pranam. This is sashtanga pranam. The power of the sashtanga pranam can never be underestimated. One of the most powerful exercise. Now, even if I sit like this and watch my body is upright. So there is an element of humility, but that will not take us to that state of self-surrender. There is nothing that can substitute the sashtanga pranam. Completely surrender your body, because when your body goes down, the mind goes down. The spirit is laid at the feet. And then he takes over. Now, there are traditions where it is said only men can do this and women cannot do this, they only do this. Now, this does not mean, and that's okay, I have nothing against that tradition, there is nothing that says this is not sashtanga pranam. The chest going down is important. Whether it touches the ground or not is immaterial. The fact that you're doing everything except putting the chest down, this again, complete surrender. It's like a little puppy. You know, puppies come and lie at your feet like this. It's the same thing. Complete surrender. Now, why did this tradition come that women cannot go all the way down? Now, it was just common sense. Back in the days, you're talking of a couple of 1,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years ago, or even more, when these traditions are all established. The guru or the temples were all in the midst of forests. The ground may not even have been as you see in temples today. So you can't even compare, right? Hard, stony grounds. Women were embodiments of the Divine Mother. So they wanted to protect the place that nurtured babies, which is a woman's breasts. So imagine on a hard, thorny ground where the ashram was, where the guru was probably sitting. The men could do on the ground fully, but if the woman would go down and if something hurt their breasts, then it would be harming the babies at home. So it was just common sense. Out of deep respect for women, they said, you don't have to do that. You don't have to go all the way down. Simply bend and bring your chest low, that is good enough, right? So it was in that context. Now today, if you have a clean floor at home, if you have an altar that is clean at home, and if your children are all grown up, then of course you can go all the way down and do namaskar. So you're not worried about thorns or any insects or anything that could harm you. So women can go all the way down and do the namaskar. The tradition, anything if you blindly follow, then you miss the point. There was a context in which it was applicable. There was a time and a period where it made sense for women to do that. Even now, you can still do it. It will still be ashtanga. How? Knees on the ground. Vashinyai, Kameshwari. Modinyai. So I'm coming here. Modinyai. Then Vimala, she's on the ground. Forehead touches the floor. Aruna, eyes are closed, Jainyai. And I kiss the lip and I kiss the feet. Sarveshwaryai. And finally, Kaulini. Completely offered. So I grew up in an ashram and Sai Baba was my guru. So hundreds of times we did namaskar and we had to do quickly and get up. And there were times, sometimes so crowded, oftentimes, where we never had a chance to do sashtanga. Did that mean that we were ladies for some reason or we didn't complete the sashtanga? Every namaskar of this kind, whether you fully stretch out or whether you go here, both the body languages indicate a state of complete surrender. I still very fondly remember there were many times when Baba would, with his big toe and the toe that's next to him, next to the big toe, he will, once I go down, he will hold my nose like this, as I am, because there's this rope, I will move the rope and go down, he will hold my nose like this, and I won't be able to get up, so I'll just stay there, completely resting. It would be 30 seconds, it could be 45 seconds, or maybe even a minute. And then he will tell the others, look, I don't know, this guy has gone to sleep. Why is he sleeping? And he'll playfully call me, and once he releases me, I'll look up, he'll say, what, you are sleeping? Lazy fellow. But that was the beauty, the relation that is expressed when you completely surrender to the divine. So that is the importance and the power of Sashtanga Namaskara. Sashtanga Namaskara is even much older than Surya Namaskara. Surya Namaskara came later. Sashtanga Namaskara, Sashtanga Danda Pranam was even done. You can do 108 times. Simply lie down fully. Feel the bhava. All the ashtangas. Get up. Again, go down fully. So you can do this 108 times. You can do it 21 times. You can do it 3 times. But every time has to be filled with bhava. It is not an exercise. It is a state of complete self-surrender. Try and do this at least once every day. Namaste.
I hope you found that video useful. The idea of Namaskar is something very special in the Indian tradition. And especially so for those of us who have had the pleasure of having a guru, having had the chance to touch the feet. That is an inexplicable experience in itself. It's priceless. And no words can do justice to that experience. So we are at this stage in the Seventh Avarna, which demands that anything further is and can be achieved only through complete surrender and nothing else. And therefore, let us bring this satsang to an end with that thought of complete surrender. How can I completely offer myself like Jesus did? He was buried and then Christ rose. The story doesn't say that Christ came out of the cross. He had to be laid down. He had to be buried under the ground. And Christ rose. What a powerful message that was. So that is that sashtanga. The idea is the self has to completely be annihilated for divinity to rise. Let us think of that as we bring the satsang to an end. Om Shri Matre Namaha. 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 Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. May all the beings in all the worlds be happy. Jai Bolo Pavan Sutta Hanuman ki Jai. Siyavar Ramchandra ki Jai. Satguru Sainath Maharaj ki Jai. Namah Parvati Pataye Har Har Mahadev. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.